It's normal for an applicant to feel overwhelmed by the amount of documentation needed for a student visa application. However, don't panic. Just make a note of what needs to be submitted and begin the process of applying. First, a visa application form provided by the consulate. Of course, a valid passport and a photocopy of it are needed. Also, an acceptance letter from the accredited center or university where you will be studying. You need proof of accommodation arrangement, as well as proof of payment of the registration fee to the accredited center. If possible, provide the confirmation of enrollment signed and stamped. A medical certificate. The applicant must demonstrate that they are in good health. You need also a criminal record certificate for the last 5 years. Be aware that if the applicant has lived in more than one country during these 5 years, they must ask for the corresponding certificates from each country. Proof of financial means. The applicant must prove that they have sufficient financial means to cover the cost of their stay and return to their country, and where applicable, that of their family members too. Medical insurance. This insurance must cover the entire duration of the stay with no limit on medical expenses and without co-payments, as well as repatriation in case of death. Moreover, a liability waiver. This is a notarized document in which a person acts as the student's sponsor and declares that they will be responsible for the student's accommodation and living expenses during the whole stay. Sometimes applicants need a motivation letter, the residence certificate from the country where the applicant resides at the time of the visa application. As we mentioned at the beginning of the guide, each consulate has its own conditions and rules. Some are more relaxed when it comes to financial requirements, while others are extremely strict. Some may require specific insurance, while others do not. Our specialist marketing team, covering all the geographic areas, are always up to date on the requirements and any recent changes or updates. In any case, the requirements listed above are compulsory and must be met by all the applicants. It is advisable that prospective students be thorough when gathering their documentation, but at the same time ensure that the documents they provide are relevant to the application. The more accurate and detailed the application documentation, the better the chances of obtaining the student visa. One important piece of advice relates to your passport. It is essential that your passport remains valid for the entire time you are in Spain. With regards to the acceptance letter, as Maria previously mentioned, the letter must be issued by a center accredited by Instituto Cervantes and must contain the following information. The description of the course purchase. It is essential that it is an in-person course. The number of teaching hours per week, a minimum of 20 hours weekly. The total duration of the course, the start date and end date of the course, because the visa is granted in accordance with the date of the course, and that the Spanish course accredited in the certification is for a purpose of obtaining an official qualification such as DELE, CL, or university entrance exams. When looking at meeting the financial requirements of the visa application, you are likely to ask how you can prove that you have the financial means to study in Spain and how much money you will need. You must have a monthly amount that corresponds to 100% of the IPREM, unless we have confirmed that the accommodation for the entire stay has been paid for in advance. The IPREM, Indicador Público de Renta de Efectos Múltiples, is the reference index in Spain for the allocation of income-related benefits and allowances. It was introduced in July 2004 to replace the minimum interprofessional wage, Salario Mínimo Interprofesional, which was restricted to the labor market. It is a variable amount each year and can be calculated by daily, monthly, or annual totals. Depending on the IPREM of the year in which the student visa is applied for, the applicant will need to prove that they have the required financial means. There are many documents that can be provided to prove this. It is very important to always be open and honest when submitting information. For example, A student without resources or a job who provides a bank statement showing a very large recent deposit is guaranteed to be refused. However, a student whose family members have a stable job and an income that comes from a verifiable and regular source will have a better chance of success. Now we will show you some documents that can help us to show this reliability. For example, a bank statement from at least the previous 6 months, bank letter indicating the date the account was opened, the initial balance and the current balance, signed and stamped by the bank. Payslips, preferably for the last 3 to 6 months, an employment contract, income tax returns or certificates showing taxes paid. If the applicant is self-employed, for example, the presentation of the updated statutes and the certificate of registration in the commercial register. As you can see, when it comes to the documents needed to apply for a visa, you must be thorough and ensure you comply with all the requirements. The student will have to go to the bank, look for an insurance company, find out where to apply for a criminal record check in the country of origin. Once the student has all the documentation, they have to go to a notary and appoint an authorized translator. Remember, all the documents listed above must be legalized, that is to say, with the apostille of the egg, and translated into Spanish. In addition to authorized translator, the Consulate may also offer a notarizing service. A frequent problem encountered by applicants is when it comes to legalizing private documents, such as bank statements, payslips. Normally, the documents that can be legalized are public and official documents, but in some cases, we need to legalize a private document. In this case, the document must be taken to a notary so that it can be made public. In this way, the document can then be legalized and translated ready to present to the appropriate authority.